Ladies and gentlemen, the First Lady of the United States, Michelle Obama, joined by the Secretary of Defense, Robert M. Gates. Please direct your attention to the American flag for the playing of our national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, the Secretary of Defense.
I want to thank all of you. I want to thank all of you for being here, and thank you for everything you do to serve our country. I especially want to acknowledge the civil servants on the stage today. The men and women before you have roughly 800 years of public service among them. And I know they are as excited as I am to welcome our First Lady to the Department of Defense. Mrs. Obama has made it a point to visit with the employees of different federal agencies. Of course, the Pentagon is in a different category altogether. More like a small city than a cabinet department or office building. You can get a driver's license, make a bank deposit, buy some flowers, get prescription pills without ever leaving the premises. More than a few of our eminent military leaders over the years, from General Eisenhower onward, have gotten lost in its corridors. But we'll make sure the First Lady gets to where she needs to go. In a little over a year as First Lady, Mrs. Obama has made the well-being of America's military families one of her signature issues and priorities. She has traveled to many of our bases, listened to what's on the minds of our military and their loved ones. She has been a vocal advocate for efforts to provide a spectrum of support to our military families, which in this year's budget request adds up to more than $8 billion for everything from spousal education to renovating Defense Department schools. Mrs. Obama has called our military families leaders in their own right and applauded the spirit of service they embody. She understands that the men and women in uniform and their families represent our nation's greatest military asset, and I think we would all agree. I know she appreciates your service to your country and wants to hear from you directly. So without further delay, it is my honor and a great pleasure to introduce to you the First Lady of the United States.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Thank you all so much. You're so sweet. And there's so many of you. First of all, let me start by thanking Secretary Gates, first of all, for your very kind introduction, but more importantly, for your outstanding service to this country. Not just under this president, my husband, but under 7 other presidents. His service has spanned more than 4 decades, so he could be standing up there too. So on behalf of all of us, thank you. Thank you for your commitment to our country. Thank you for your devotion to the men and women of this department. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank the real hero in that family, Becky Gates. Let's give Becky a round of applause. I was told that back in college, you and the secretary met on a blind date. So maybe you didn't really realize what you were getting into. But for more than 40 years, Becky has shared her husband with our nation and served in her own way as well. And we honor her for her commitment to this country and to our men and women in service. And though they couldn't all be here today, I want to also say thank you to the Joint Chiefs, the combatant commanders, the service secretaries, and the senior enlisted advisors, and to their extraordinary wives. I want to thank you all for keeping America safe and all our military families strong. It's been a pleasure getting to know all of them. They are true heroes, and they've been a wonderful support to me and my husband during our beginning of this term. It is truly wonderful for me to be here. It is a beautiful day, and I have been waiting for this visit for a long time. The President has been to the Pentagon before, thank goodness, for discussions with Secretary Admiral Mullen and the Joint Chiefs. And when he first came, he told me that he had been in the tank. And I wasn't quite sure whether that was a good thing or a bad thing. And last September, the President and I had the honor of joining some of you and your families here at the Pentagon Memorial outside of the Pentagon for a rainy celebration, not celebration, but to mark the anniversary of 9/11 and to pay tribute to the fallen colleagues who gave their lives here. But today, this visit is my first time actually being anywhere inside the Pentagon, although we're not quite inside. We're very close. But I'm going to get in there. I know there's a lot going on, miles of corridors and all the rings I'm hearing about and the 6 different zip codes. And so I can see why General Eisenhower got lost. So I'm thrilled that I made it in. And Secretary Gates, I'm counting on you to make sure I get out safely. Today is a simple chance for me to do a couple of things. First, I want to say thank you. It's one of the things that I've done as First Lady. That's one of the favorite things that I do, and it's coming to the different departments to really express my personal appreciation as well as the appreciation of me and my family for all that you do for this country. The second reason I'm here, as the Vice President's wife, Jill Biden, and I have been doing all across this country, this visit is another chance to shine a spotlight on the service and sacrifices of the finest military in the world and your amazing families. As Secretary Gates mentioned, the visits that I've done to bases all across this country have just been inspiring. Meeting you, meeting your spouses, your children, has been one of the greatest privileges that I've had as First Lady. At Fort Bragg and Fort Hood, I stood in awe of the United States Army. Yeah. At Norfolk, I was truly inspired by the United States Navy. At Eglin Air Force Base, I was blown away by our United States Air Force. And at the White House, every day, I get to witness the amazing commitment of the United States Marine Corps. And we can never forget our partners at DHS, the outstanding men and women of the United States Coast Guard. What? Let's hear it for the Coast Guard.